Welcome to today's episode where we have music composer and teacher Robbie Seeley. Robbie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me tonight.
Absolutely, it's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. And you're out of Southern California?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whereabouts in Southern California?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. How is it out there right now?
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Gosh, it couldn't be nicer. Yeah,
love
it's
it.
great.
Yeah, and so you and I, we connected through Instagram, and you are doing some really cool stuff with the healing sounds of different hertz. And these are your own compositions. And I just would love to hear more about what your practice is with music and how you got into sound healing. So, how is music in your life these days?
Well, thank you. Yeah, music in my life is paramount. It's forefront. I teach every day. That's how I make a living. So I always have my guitar with me. So I teach guitar,
Mm,
and I'm always you know I'm always music's always there. It's never like um absent. So, and unfortunately right now, as you mentioned, on my Instagram, I'm in a real creative mode right now. I've
mm,
found these, um as you mentioned, I'm into different hertz, so different forms of tuning, and I found these really relaxing, sort of calming um, frequencies, actually, and they form a scale. Um, so I'm using that, and I actually found them through another guy on Instagram, Sono Lumen, I believe.
mhm,
Uh, no, he has some really cool work as well, and he recently put out these pitches. So,
mm.
and then I was listening to them and sort of testing them out. And they sound really cool. So I just got really inspired, and I just started writing a bunch of music. And I've tried to like really streamline my workflow too, so that I can put out like a post a day is my goal. So I've
Mhm.
been pretty good with that. But it causes me to make decisions really fast, which has been really good for me. Just like not be too perfectionist, and um, just put stuff out.
I relate to that so much. It's difficult to know when something is finished. So to give yourself that deadline is probably very helpful.
Yes, definitely.
And would you say that in working with these frequent, I have so many questions. So first,
Yeah.
my question is, can you say more about what these hertz are? Like what hertz are you
Yes.
connecting with and what is the scale? Can you say more about that?
Yeah, so the hertz that I'm dealing with, I guess, relate to 432,
Hmm.
that tuning system, but not in the equal 12 tone equal temperament system, because that would make all the other pitches like um, not whole numbers. They'd be like decimals. They'd have huge like irrational. Is that the right term for that? Where you just have like a decimal and like a bunch of numbers after that.
I think so.
So yeah, like I was saying, Sono Lumen, I hope I'm saying that right.
Mm,
He published these tones, and he also wrote this book which I read, and it talks about like the number, the how these numbers relate to certain things, dealing with like solar measurements, and the time measurements and stuff like that, and they
mhm,
seem to be reoccurring in nature. And one of them that's very common is 108,
mm,
which, as um, maybe it's also very common in ancient religions, like Buddhism and other Eastern religions. 108 seems to be very prevalent. So it also
mm,
happens to be a tone that, when I tested it out, what I mean by that is I also do this thing called heart coherence.
mhm,
It's through this organization called Heart Math. It has to do with your heart rate variance. So when you inhale, your heart rate should normally, if you're in a calm state, your heart rate should increase, and when you exhale, it should decrease. And if you're in a very calm state, and you're breathing in about 5 seconds on an inhale, 5 seconds on an exhale, um, your heart rate variance creates like a sine wave. So it's very calm and very fluid. And there's a device that you hook up to your ear and you can measure that. So what I do is I'll test different things, different stimuli, and see which kind of like activates that in me. And so some of these tones like really stood out as like getting me to activate like very high heart coherence.
Really? That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the instrumentation of these hertz, does it matter? Are you just kind of creating a tone through the computer, or are you tuning your instrument to this hertz? And I'm so
Yes.
interested. This is so fascinating. How do you
Yeah.
manage to do that?
Yeah, I go into Audacity, which is a free recording software.
Hmm.
It also creates tones, so you can go in there and generate a sine wave.
Hmm.
So what I did is I generated sine waves at specific pitches, and then also I did some saw waves, and then I take those, I make files into that, and I import that into my music software, Ableton Live,
Okay.
and then there's like a sampler, so you or it's no a drum rack
Hmm.
which basically you can assign every key to a different sample. So I assign each of these pitches to a different key, basically make my own instrument. So
Wow.
yeah,
And
a lot of that stuff is just 7 pitches. So I really
mhm,
limited myself to just using 7 pitches.
mhm.
Um, and I just recently, the past maybe five five posts were all 12 pitches. I went in and I found some whole numbers that fill in the gaps. So I have all 12 pitches. They're all whole numbers. They're all like they have some sort of significance. Like 121 has some sort, like you can look it up and read it and read about it, and different numbers. Yeah, so that's another thing I find pretty fascinating is numerology and how they affect natural phenomenon.
Can you say more about when you are making your 12 tone scale, each
Yeah,
note is at a frequency or at a hertz that
yeah.
has a some sort of healing property. Is that correct?
That is the goal. With the newer healing tones, I haven't tested them out
Hmm.
as much. But I figured them out based on the nearest number that would fit that interval. So it's
Hmm.
like I was missing a major second, so I needed to find the number as close to what would normally be, and
Hmm.
then I tested out the sound of it, not with my little heart device, but with just the sound of it. Sounds very nice. So yeah,
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the music that you're putting out on Lucid Tones.
yeah. Lucid Tones 108.
How did you get into sound healing as an experiencing it for yourself? Was it through Instagram, or did you have an experience before Instagram where you were like, "Whoa, this is, music heals or sound heals"? How were you open to that idea?
Oh, that's a good question. It just sort of, I want to say it just sort of happened, but I guess there were pivotal moments. Like one experience was this sitar player's concert I went to, and
Mm,
really intimate. It was just like this small little like yoga room or something,
yeah.
um, and we were like right there in front of him, and it was just like it took me to like a different place, like mentally, and
Mm.
yeah, and that's happened with other Indian music concerts. So I think that's had a big impact on me in like realizing the potency of music, the power, the unknown power, and yeah, the sort of mind altering effect also that it can have, you know. Um, yeah.
So are these hurts related to the body and the mind, or is there a difference between 108 you would use if you want to have a calm mind, and then, or you were saying that 122 is for the heart, and please correct me if I'm misremembering, are
Um,
how are this the hertz related to the the body as a system of body and mind?
that I don't know. So those plates, those Chladni plates, where they vibrate different tones on them. They make like different shapes in the sand.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, cymatics. The shapes that come up based on the pitches put into them changes when the plate changes. So if it's like a bigger plate, like
Hmm.
you'd have to use different pitches. So everybody's body is like a different size. So my thinking, my logic is like, oh well, shouldn't the pitches be slightly different? So to say like 108 is the everybody's root chakra. Okay, maybe. I mean, I kind of my thinking tells me that it may not be so one size fits all. But like I said, that's just my sort of my own conclusion that I kind of came to.
I would agree with you to say that we would react differently. I also would think that there are some things that we can look to guide us in providing these healing frequencies.
Yeah, I think if we are different, like if we vibrate at different frequencies, that it might also be that there's very slight, and like one pitch would have like a similar healing effect on like a mass of people. Like
Mm,
I envision like performing to like audiences where people are like sort of synchronized with each other,
mhm.
like maybe all breathing to the same rate of the music and all sort of feeling like that heart coherence. So that's sort of my dream. That's my goal that I want to make happen. And sort of COVID just kind of obviously kind of stop that for the time being, but that it has actually allowed me to work on music more. So, um, but yeah, that's the goal, is like get like a lot of people sort of like feeling this together, and
Mm.
and seeing what happens.
I think that'd be really cool to kind of experiment digitally too.
Yeah, there's this whole thing of like on global coherence where there people across the world, you go into your app. There's an app that from HeartMath that you can see around the world different people doing that together in unison, and supposedly, um, it has like an effect.
I definitely think that there's something to that global coherence. How did you get involved with heart math?
Gosh, I don't know. I think I was just going through a really stressful time, and I was just like going through my Facebook feed, and then I I saw something on it, and then I started reading it, and I tried the exercise, and it really just worked. It just like it took me out of anxiety, and it just like changed my mood, just like almost, I don't want to say instantly, but gradually and but noticeably. And so
Mm,
yeah, I started doing the exercise. And then I actually took a little course. I got the little device that I hook up to my ear,
mm.
um, and yeah, just like something that just really clicked with me and sort of fit nicely with the other practice I was doing, which was Chan meditation. Essentially, it's like
Hmm.
the Chinese word for Zen,
Oh, okay.
with the Japanese word for Chan, which is the Indian word for Dhyana, I believe.
If you could define that, that'd be great.
Yeah, totally. It's essentially dissolving your ego, yourself, and
That's cool.
realizing your essential nature,
Mm,
basically, which is
yes.
pretty vague, but it has to do with more cleaning and
Hmm.
like getting rid of the obstructions mentally, and more so than like adding on and obtaining something. It's like we are already have everything. We're already whole and complete.
Hmm.
It's a matter of lifetimes of muck and mud, and and lifetimes could be occurring in not meaning like lives after life. Lifetimes can occur in a single moment. It's just like
Mm.
lifetimes of just like negativity or whatever. And so cleaning, wiping all that until like the essential nature is all that's left.
It's really interesting. And I love the term of, the muck and mud,
Yeah.
because in Buddhism, the lotus is a very powerful image and
Right.
it grows up through the mud
Yeah.
and it blooms a resilient flower that no longer reacts, doesn't absorb any of the mud. And so I've always loved that analogy. And in Chan meditation, are there visualizations that you use to imagine cleansing yourself? Or is it a more analytical idea of I am saying something that will allow me to let go?
The way I was taught was that you have what's called a huatou. It's a topic, so it could be like Amitofo, which is like the one of the Buddha's names.
Mm,
It could be Guanyin Pusa, one of the bodhisattvas.
Mm,
And then you say that a few times, while you sit in a certain way in the lotus, and you put your hands over your navel,
mhm.
and then you breathe. You focus on your breath. Um, you're sort of like put yourself as like the security guard. You're watching your breath come in into
Oh, I
your
like
body
that.
and then coming out, and then basically you sort of like focus at the belly, and you ask like, who am I? And then you contemplate that. You ask, who am I? Am I permanent? Like, what about me is permanent? Is my skin permanent? Are my bones? Are my teeth? Are my thoughts? Like, what is there about me that will go on forever? And um, another one is, what does my original face look like?
Mm,
You contemplate that, sort of like um, Zen. I believe they're called koans. Koan.
mhm. Yes.
um yeah, so like a phrase that you would contemplate, and then who being the main one. So you just constantly asking, who am I, who, and it just becomes like, um the basis for entering samadhi. But yeah, that's the practice that I was
Mm.
taught, and I like it a lot. um and yeah, I recommend it to anyone who's up for it.
I'm wondering for you how these practices informed you as a teacher, and do you also use this in a teaching method? Is it very, is it a direct teaching method, or does it just kind of inform you as a teacher? What does it look like in your teaching method?
As a teacher, I find it you have to be very flexible and very, like, every student is so different. You
Mm,
know,
mhm.
some students, like, they're coming from different they're there for different reasons. Maybe their parents are making them be there, and so I I still try to make it fun for them. I don't want to like make it like their weekly punishment to come see me. That's not how I wanted to do it. So I still try to impart some sort of like benefit to them,
Mm,
whether it be musical or, yeah, more like, I don't want to say philosophical, but just like some like life lesson, like organize your stuff better, or like, I don't know, some tip that's maybe
mm.
relevant to them. Um, but yeah, like some people like really want to go deep into that, and I just try to offer whatever I can, that I know, that my limited knowledge of um, this type of thing.
I know that you're teaching and composing. Are you again Lucid Tones 108? Are you working on any other projects, and how can people find your music, or maybe someone wants to have a spiritual guitar teacher, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to sign up for lessons, you can check out my website. It's guitar lessons Santa Barbara .com. And yeah, you can contact me through that. um Musical projects, I have something else in the works, which I shall reveal as the time when the time is right. But
Exciting.
it involves an amazing flute player.
Mm.
um Plays Native American flute, and yeah, we're on a similar um trajectory as far as like goal and aim. Another fellow sound healer.
Mm.
um yeah, so that is in the works. But yeah, so that's I'm seeing where this is going to evolve into. So
Mm.
experiment.
Really cool. And looking forward to more Lucid Tones. It's very refreshing to be, when you're in social media, to come up to a post by you where it's, oh, let me take a minute to relax and listen to some healing tones. And so
Cool.
thank you for
uh,
posting that and for
no,
taking the
thank
time.
Yeah, thank you for listening to it. That's my goal. That's why I'm putting it out there. I just want people to hear it, because yeah, it means a lot.
And thank you for sharing all this. And I wish you all the best success with that. And am so looking forward to the music project. Thank you for telling us about it today. It sounds really
Thanks.
exciting. And, I hope to be in touch. And as
Absolutely.
projects continue for you, please come back on the show.
Awesome. I will. I'd love to.
Thank you so
Oh,
much, Robbie, and thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you have a happy, healthy, and peaceful day. Thank you so much.